Hello YouTubers, you are watching Just Do It Yourself channel, and today we are working on 2009 Toyota Sienna and we will be replacing rear shock on this car. So when I started this, I thought easy job, probably doesn't even worth of taping it. Though I ran into a few issues with the new parts, so I would like to show you that so you can avoid those problems down the road when you replace your shocks. So vehicle is jacked up. I will remove the wheel. For that you will need 21mm socket, and I'm using 1/2 inch impact. If you are using the just ratchet, make sure that you got those nuts loose on when the wheel is on the ground, or apply brakes so it doesn't spin on you. And I already removed the lock nut that was over here. Okay, so next I will put the jack under the spring, so we will take the tension of the suspension, because the shock is the only thing that holds the suspension up. So we'll just do a few pumps to get it loose. That should be enough. So I have removed the nut, the washer, and the rubber bushing. Those are all aftermarket parts, and yours might be a little bit different. Usually there is also a rubber cap that covers all the threads, so potentially you will have it, and if you use the right parts at the end you can place it back. With that bushing, which is aftermarket, it won't stay on because there is nothing to hold to. Next we'll remove this nut. It's 19mm, and that's the last thing that holds this shock in place. So I'll be using my impact again. Nice tool to have if you're working in a shop. It gives you almost 1500 foot-pound of torque when you need to lose your bolt or nut, so that works just great. And I will leave the links to the tools and parts in the description to the video, so check those out. So now when this is removed, we can slide it off, and here's our old shock. So the old shock is completely empty. The new one, I decided to go with K&B this time, and I will leave a link in the description to it. So if you look at this one, you can see that this shield is missing, and if you have original part or another K&B, this shield is replaceable, but in my case I don't even know what make are those. It's solid piece, it's not replaceable, so I had to order another kit, suspension mount for the rear shock, and I will leave a link in the description to that too. Basically, we will be using two parts today. So, two options. If you wanna find one single unit, might be the best, at least the cheapest option for sure. Specifically is if the old one is already aftermarket like this. If you wanna go with KYB, you might need to get the mounting kit separately for that purpose. So let's take a look what is in. So this came with the shock, and theoretically all we need from this is just a nut, and this is the mounting kit. So it has a few things in here. And I was, to be honest, totally confused with this kit set of parts and with the other one that came with the shock, like how it has to be assembled, and I couldn't find any meaningful videos online. I contacted KYB and they didn't give me any direct instruction, any document how to assemble this. It was just kind of put this and this together and it should be fine. So the best I can figure, and I will really appreciate if you can give a feedback if I did it wrong. So first thing, you want to take this stopper and just put it inside of this dust shield. Like that. Then in the manual to the shock tells that you need to compress it all the way in just to get that gas flowing inside, and then it will go all the way out. So next, I think, at least what I figured we need to do, we need to put this over the inner piece over the shaft. So I just put my shock this position and we'll try to get this down like that. So this will be up to the top. Next we put this piece this way. Next we put this bushing, I believe, this way, and that should be it for also. Let's see. So I put the metal bushing, then slide it on this rubber bushing over here, and that will hit the frame. And last two pieces, this will go from the inside of the car, and we will need to use a nut that came with the shock. So basically all the mounting hardware that came with the shock is not used, just the nut. So that's what I figured it's supposed to be, but please feel free to leave a comment if you think that it should be different, and I will change it. Before putting the shock back on that stud, we will just apply some anti-seize to make sure that it comes loose next time when we need it to remove. So next we will slide the shock on. So we will start with the top, and then so next we'll put the washer and the nut back on, but we will not get it all the way tightened right away. So since our suspension is fully expanded, and that's not how it is staying most of the time, we need to make sure that we push the suspension towards the frame, and we need this distance between this dust cap and the bolt that start to be 10 inches. We have now 15 inches. So we'll use our jack to compress the spring and push the axle, or not an axle, but the wheel knuckle closer to the frame, and then we will get it tight. Okay, so we are roughly at 10 inches now, so we should be good to tighten that nut. And we'll get it snug with the impact. And now we can torque it to 85 foot-pounds. So we'll just use the torque wrench. Alright. Great. Okay, now we are at the trunk, and it's a good time to tighten it here, since we are supporting it from underneath. So we'll put this bushing, and we'll put the washer, and we will install the nut. The new nut came in is 17 millimeter, and it has a nylon lock. So you will just get it tight. If your piston rod starts to spin, there is a place for 6mm Allen key, and we will see if we will need it or not in a few seconds. So now when the nylon lock hit the piston rod, it started to spin, so we will hold it. And if you're thinking how much you need to tighten this, honestly the manual says that you don't squeeze those rubber bushing too much. So as soon as your nylon lock grabs a bit of thread so that nut is locked, you should be good with this type of studs. If you using the other style, just make sure that this bushing is tight. It's not squeezed and pushed out, but tight enough so it doesn't move and wobble. So we are done here. As I said, normally you would have the rubber cap that goes on top and underneath the slip, so it stays in place. This one is missing. So at this point the shock is installed, tight at the bottom and at the top. We'll put the wheel back on. We'll torque it to, I think, 90 foot-pounds for this type of nuts, and that should be it. Thanks for watching. Please check the links to the description under the video to all the links for parts and tools that you might need. Like and subscribe if you wish, and just do it yourself.